able to bake successfully, first you need a good recipe. In the good recipe, then you will find measures which are very important. So today, I'm going to show you how to be able to measure accurately and precisely. These are the tools that you need to be able to measure and scale accurately. The Philippines and the US are now one of the few countries in the world who still uses the cup and the teaspoons for measuring. The rest of the world are now into the metric system and they use a weighing scale. Today, I will start with the measuring cups. There are basically two kinds of measuring cups. These are the measuring cups that you use for dry ingredients. You can use stainless, you can use aluminum, you can use plastic. Either one will work. And then, you have a separate measuring cup to measure liquid ingredients. You can use, this is acrylic, you can use plastic, or you can use glass. Occasionally, you also have metal. Either one will also work. To measure dry ingredients, you need a measuring cup and a flat blade. You can use a spatula, you can use a dough scraper, you can use the back of the knife, as long as you have a flat and level edge. The most common way to measure is to use the scoop and then the sweep method. So you do it this way. So you scoop it and you level it. You don't shake or you don't do this on the pan, because you see, once you tap, you'll notice that there's now a space. So it means you're not measuring it accurately. Alright? So again, to measure, you scoop and you sweep. So this is 1 cup. There are some ingredients that are measured differently. An example of this is brown sugar. There are 3 ways that you can measure brown sugar. Measure it according to what is specified in the recipe. The first method is the scoop and sweep method. In this method, when you unmold the sugar does not form a mound. In the second method, you pack the brown sugar lightly into the measuring cup. The mound will disintegrate after a few seconds of unmolding. This is called loosely or lightly packed brown sugar. In the last method, you pack the brown sugar very firmly into the measuring cup. When you unmold it from the cup, it will form a very firm mound which will keep its shape. This is called firmly or well-packed brown sugar. For comparison purposes, we have the 3 methods. This is the scoop and sweep method. We have the lightly and the loosely packed brown sugar. And then we have the firmly and well-packed brown sugar. To measure shortening, what you do is you always pack the shortening into your measuring cup. So you make sure there's no air. This is how you measure shortening and margarine, non-refrigerated margarine. You make sure there's no air. Right, and then you level it off. If you need to measure butter or refrigerated margarine, I don't know if you've noticed that there are markings at the back. See? You can see markings. Please take note that 225 gram of butter is equivalent to 1 cup. Alright? So if you need 1 cup, then you don't need to measure, you need the whole bar. If you want to use half, you will see here, you cut this in the middle, because if this is 1 cup, so it means this is half, and this is half. Half and half, alright? If you need 1/3, you divide it into 3. If you need 1/4, you divide it into 4. Alright? Same here also. There are markings. Some ingredients like flour, confectioner sugar, and cocoa powder need to be sifted before they're measured. These are the different kinds of sifter that you can use. This is the sifter commonly used in the bakery, or the industrial kitchen. And this is the sifter that we commonly use at home. We also have a mechanical sifter where there's a trigger and the handle. They come in plastic and stainless steel or aluminum. And then this is also another kind. Either one that you use is alright. Okay. To sift, you can sift it over a bowl or you can use parchment paper. Cleanup is easy with a parchment paper, so we will use the sifter that we usually use at home. Right. So when you sift, you do this. You tap the sifter against your left hand. If you're right-handed, use your right hand then. Alright, so this is how you sift. You don't go like this. Okay, like this. Alright, another way, we're going to use this one. Actually, this is the best sifter. So for instance, this one. You do the same thing when you sift. You always tap it against the side of your pan. Alright. Then I'll show you another way. This one, using the mechanical sifter, is easy. You just press the trigger and the handle. Alright. This is a rotary sifter. Alright. Make sure that the sifter that you use, like this one for instance, you use this for flour. Don't use this to strain your pasta or to use this as a strainer for your fruits. Alright. So you reserve one just for your flour, so you don't need to wash this. After you finish sifting, you do this and you wipe it dry. It will prolong the life of your sifters. Now we will measure liquid ingredients, alright? If you use this measuring cup, if I want to measure 1 cup, so when I measure, I have to look at it that the line of 1 cup should be eye level. Don't put the cup down and look at it like that unless you want to bend down and look at the mark. So this one, the marker here should be eye level. Alright. However, some companies make measuring cups where you don't need to look at it at eye level. You can see here there are markings. So once it reaches, like if I want to measure 1 cup, once it measures 1 cup here, then I don't have to bend down to look at the line, or I don't have to bring it up, so it will be eye level. Let's try to measure 1 cup of milk. Let me pour in 1 cup. See, at eye level, you look at the lower meniscus, it's 1 cup. Now, let's measure this here. From here, you don't have to bend down. You can see it's on the 1 cup level. You know, in baking school, we say we measure with measuring cups, we scale with a weighing scale. So today, we've finished with the measuring cups. We will now go to the metric system. I use this weighing scale if I need to weigh anything 1 kilo and below. I use the smaller jeweler scale if I need to weigh anything less than 20 grams. Do not use a big scale to weigh small measurements, like for example, do not use a 15 kilogram weighing scale to weigh 100 grams of baking powder because you will not get an accurate reading. I have many recipes to share with you. If you're interested, please like, share, subscribe, and click the notification bell so you can be alerted when a new video is uploaded. In anything that you do, you need to be systematic so you can be efficient in what you do. In baking or in cooking, we have what we call a mise en place. Mise en place is a French word that means everything in place. For those who attend my cooking classes, you will notice that we always have what we call a mise en place. This is an example of a mise en place. Every time I make a mise en place, I always have it in mind that I always arrange the ingredients in the order to how it's added in the recipe. Like for instance, in this mise en place, butter is first. So it means I'm going to start with butter, and then I add the sugar, and then I add the eggs, and then I have the dry ingredients alternately with the liquid. So it's easy for you. You don't need to keep looking at your recipe on, oh, which one should I add next, which one should I add last. Alright, so make it a practice to arrange it in order of how it's added to the recipe. Before I end this tutorial, I'd like to give you some more information on how you will be able to bake successfully. Alright, when you look at a recipe, any recipe for that matter, if it just says 1 cup flour, alright, it does not specify whether it's cake flour, bread flour, automatically it means the presumption is you need all-purpose flour. If you have a recipe book that says also that you need 1 cup of plain flour is all-purpose flour. When the recipe says soft flour, it's cake flour. When it says hard flour, it means bread flour. Alright? So, every time you see recipes that says just flour, it means all-purpose flour. If it does not specify if it should be sifted or not, the rule of thumb is you should sift the flour before you measure. When you weigh it, it doesn't matter if you sift it, if you don't sift it, because the weight is the same, sifted or unsifted, if it's weighed. For example, 100 grams of sifted flour is still 100 grams when you don't sift it. But 1 cup flour sifted and 1 cup unsifted flour is not the same. Alright? And then also, when the recipe says eggs, in my tutorials, I always use large to extra large eggs. However, as a guide, if the recipe says small eggs are about 40 grams, medium eggs are about 45 grams, large eggs are 50 grams, extra large eggs are 55 grams. If I don't specify the size of the egg, the presumption is it's extra large eggs, large to extra large, or it doesn't matter what the size is, because if I need a specific amount of eggs, I always put there 50 grams, 100 grams, alright? When you have a recipe and it says 1/2 cup milk, what does it mean? Does it mean evaporated milk, fresh milk, whole milk, skim milk? The rule of thumb is, if the recipe just says milk, it means it's not evaporated milk. It means it's full cream milk. So what you can do, if you have evaporated milk, what you need to do is you just dilute the evaporated milk. So if you need 1/2 cup milk, you need 1/4 cup of evaporated milk, and then you dilute it with 1/4 cup of water. Alright? But most recipes that do not specify what kind of milk, usually you can just use any kind of milk. That will not make a big difference. And before I forget, I want to tell you something about oven temperatures. Usually, students ask me, what do you mean by number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5 in my oven? You know, I cannot answer you that because each manufacturer has their own temperature range. So you have to check the brochure, or you can go to their tech services to ask what is the temperature range for that specific number. Most commonly, our ovens here in the Philippines are degrees Fahrenheit, but we are gradually moving to degrees centigrade, which is Celsius. Alright? All the temperatures in my recipes are in degrees Fahrenheit. Okay? Students ask me, how do I know if my oven is in Fahrenheit or in centigrade? Alright? If you look at your oven, if your highest temperature is 200 or 250, it means it's in degrees Celsius or centigrade. If the highest temperature in your oven is 400 to 500, then it's in degrees Fahrenheit. An easy conversion, alright, this is not accurate, but this is an easy conversion where you don't need calculator, you don't need to have mathematical equation, is For instance, I need 350 degrees Fahrenheit. In my recipe, I said, use 350 degrees Fahrenheit. And you happen to have an oven in Celsius. So what do? I always tell the student, just divide it by 2. It will give you 175 degrees Celsius, and that will be the temperature you use. But if you compute it mathematically, it should be about 177 degrees Celsius. It's just a difference of 2 or 3 degrees. It won't really matter that much. Alright? If you have a recipe in degrees Celsius, let's say if the recipe says 150 degrees Celsius and your oven is in Fahrenheit, all you have to do is multiply it by 2. So 150 degrees Celsius times 2, it will give you 300 degrees Fahrenheit. As I said, it's not 100% accurate. It is just a rough estimate to make your life easier. I also hope I was able to impart some knowledge and tips on how to be able to navigate through your recipes successfully. If you have any questions regarding my tutorial videos or this video, please don't hesitate to drop me a comment and I will try to get back to you to give you an answer. Thank you very much for watching.